Dear children, today I am going to start the sixth chapter in the history part, that is the first war of Indian independence. This chapter is more important for exam point of view. Now I am going to give introduction of the first war of Indian independence. In order to expand their power, the British government introduced two new policies, such as number one, the doctrine of lapse and the subsidiary alliance system. Due to doctrine of lapse, the many states in India went under the control of British government. As a result, the kings who lost their power started revolt against the British government, which resulted the 1857 revolt. The Indian historians called this 1857 revolt as the first war of Indian independence, but whereas the English historians termed this one as the Sepoy Mutiny. Dear children, now we are going to know about some of the reasons which resulted for the 1857 revolt. The reasons can be classified into number one, political reasons, number two, economic reasons, and number three, administrative reasons, and number four, military reasons, and number five, immediate reasons. These are the five reasons are very important for 1857 revolt. Dear children, now there is one question most likely to appear in the annual examination. What are the important political reasons for 1857 revolt? Now we go briefly about the political reasons of 1857 revolt. Right, number one, the first reason under political reasons, the first point we have to write that number one, the British government has been introduced the doctrine of lapse system by the then English Governor General, that is Lord Dalhousie. As a result, the following states in India lost their power, such as number one, Satara, number two, Jhansi, and number three, Udaipur and other states were lost their power and went under the control of British government. As a result, these are all the rulers who lost their power were started revolting against the British government. The second reason under political reasons are, we have to write like this, children. The second point we have to write, that is the British government. The British government has been removed the kingships of the Tanjavur and the Carnatic Nawabs. As a result, they also started revolting against the British government. The third point we have to write like this. As a result, the British government has been dethroned. Dethroned means removed the Mughal rulers and other rulers in other parts of India. As a result, the number of soldiers, those who are working under these rulers, were remained unemployed. That's why they are also started revolting against the British government. These are the 4 points we have to write as important political reasons for 1857 revolt. Now there is a question. Sometimes he will ask like that, what are the important economic reasons for 1857 revolt? The important economic reasons for 1857 revolt, the first point we have to write like this. Due to industrialization which has been took place in England, as a result its impact has been passed on India. As a result, number of handicraft industries and cottage industries were completely diminished. Diminished means disappeared. That is the first economic reason for 1857 revolt. As a result, the millions of Indians lost their job and they remained as unemployees. They revolted against the British government. That is the first important point under economic reasons. The second important point is the weaving industry was get a serious setback of the industrialization which has been started in England and passed its impact on India. As a result, the number of weavers were lost their jobs. That is the second economic reason for 1857 revolt. The third point we have to write under economic reasons of 1857 revolt is the British government introduced the Jamindari system which was already prevailed in India and ordered the Jamindars to collect number of taxes from the farmers. As a result, the Jamindars exploited the farmers in India. That's why they were lot in trouble. They were not in a position to pay the taxes towards the Jamindars. That's why the farmers in India were also revolted against the British government. That is the third point we have to write under economic reasons. The fourth point we have to write under economic reasons is the Inam Commission, which was already prevailed in India, has been removed, abolished by the British government. As a result, the Inam lands were stopped by the British government. As a result, the farmers were deep in trouble. That's why they are also revolted against the British government. These are the 4 points we have to write as the important economic reasons for 1857 revolt. The third important reason is, what are the administrative reasons for 1857 revolt? The British government has been introduced the number of criminal and civil laws into effect. But in the implementation of these civil and criminal laws, there was a lot of discrimination has been followed by the British government. Discrimination means differentiation between Indians and Europeans were maintained by the British government. As a result, the English government has been introduced the English language as the court language in the Indian courts, which was not completely understandable to the Indians. And also the judges who have been working in the Indian courts were the European judges. They given their judgments only in favor of the Europeans and against to the Indians. That's why the Indians were not understood clearly about the criminal laws and civil laws which have been implemented by the British government, and the English language they are not knowing. That's why what is going on in the Indian courts, the Indians were unable to understand. That's why they revolted against the British government. These three come under important administrative reasons for 1857 revolt. The next reason for 1857 revolt is military reasons. Already we are knowing in the British army number of Indian sepoys have been working and their number was in large. All the Indian sepoys strongly believed that if we are all unitedly fought against the British government, it will become easy to them to dethrone British from Indian soil. The Indian sepoys, those who are working in the British army, they strongly believed like this. But there was a lot of discrimination between the Indian sepoys and European sepoys in the British government in terms of salary and promotion facilities. There was a lot of discrimination between Indian sepoys and European sepoys. That is the first important military reasons for 1857 revolt. In salary and promotion facilities, there was a lot of difference between Indian sepoys and European sepoys. That is the first military reason. The second military reason is the English government ordered the Indian sepoys to overcross the seas to fight against the enemies. According to Indian belief, it is not applicable to the Indian military or Indian sepoys. They were not in a position to cross the sea and to fight against the enemies. That is the second military reason for 1857 revolt. And what is the immediate reason for 1857 revolt? Already we told that the large number of Indian sepoys are working in the British army, and they strongly believed that if they fought unitedly among themselves, if they fought against the British government, it will become easy to them to dethrone British from the Indian soil. During this situation, the British government provided Enfield rifle guns to the Indian sepoys. Enfield rifle guns have been provided by the British government to the Indian sepoys, those who are working in the British army. And these are the most modernized guns which have been provided by the British government towards the Indian sepoys. But there was a rumor has been spread among the Indian sepoys. The rumor is that the bullets of the Enfield rifle guns have been smeared with the fats of cow and pig. It is actually just a rumor. This rumor has been spread in the camps of the Indian sepoys that the bullets of the Enfield rifle guns have been smeared with the fats of cow and pig. According to Indian tradition, the cow is the most sacred animal to the Hinduism religion people, and the pig has been prohibited for the Muslims. That's why the Hinduism religion people and the Islamic religion people, those who are working as Indian sepoys in the British government, were strongly believed that purposely the British government is insulting their religious beliefs. They thought like this, and immediately they revolted against the British government. This is come under immediate reasons for 1857 revolt. Now we came to know about the political reasons, economic reasons, administrative reasons, military reasons, and immediate reasons for 1857 revolt. This revolt has been spread very largely from the Indian sepoys, but unfortunately this 1857 revolt, or the first war of Indian independence, or the first Indian freedom struggle, which has been failed completely, it has been failed. Now the most important question, what are the reasons for the failure of 1857 revolt, most likely to appear in the annual examination. The most important reasons, most important causes for the failure of 1857 revolt. Now we are coming to know the most important points we have to write. It may appear under 3 marks question in the annual examination. The question is, what are the causes for the failure of 1857 revolt? Causes for the failure of 1857 revolt. Causes for the failure of 1857 revolt. Now this question is most likely to appear in the annual examination. Now we are coming to write the important causes for the failure of 1857 revolt. The first point we have to write that this 1857 revolt is not spread throughout India. It has been just limited to North India only, but not spread to South India. That is the first point we have to write under the causes for the failure of 1857 revolt. The first point, once again I am repeating, this 1857 revolt was limited to some parts of North India, but not spread to South India. It has been limited to some parts of India only. The second point is, there was no suitable leadership among the Indian sepoys to fight against the British government. The lack of leadership among the Indian sepoys to fight against the British government. That is the second important cause for the failure of 1857 revolt. The third point we have to write like this: lack of concentration and lack of coordination, lack of the most modernized weapons with the Indian sepoys is also another most important cause for the failure of 1857 revolt. But whereas the British sepoys are having most modernized weapons, that is the third important cause for the failure of 1857 revolt. The fourth important cause for the failure of 1857 revolt, that is there was no unity among the Indian sepoys, but there was a lot of unity among the British sepoys. This is the another important cause for the failure of 1857 revolt. Each and every Indian sepoys strongly believed himself as a leader. Like this, all the Indian sepoys were strongly believed that they are the leaders of 1857 revolt. That's why there was no unity among the Indian sepoys, and this is the another important cause for the failure of 1857 revolt. And the fifth point we have to write under the causes for the failure of 1857 revolt is that this some of the Indian native rulers were not supported towards the Indian sepoys. Instead of supporting to the Indian sepoys, they supported to the British government. Some of the Indian native rulers, without supporting the Indian sepoys, they supported to the British government. As a result, this great 1857 revolt, which has been started from the Indian sepoys, got totally failure. Because of this one, some of the Indian native rulers, without supporting the Indian sepoys, they supported to the British government. And the last sixth one is this 1857 revolt is not having a definite aim. Simply this revolt has been started because some kings and some rulers lost their power. To bring back their power, the Indian sepoys were started this revolt, but not getting the freedom from the British government. That kind of knowledge the Indian sepoys were not maintained. This is the another important cause for the failure of 1857 revolt. Like this, these are all the out of 6 points. We can write any 5 points. It will become the 3 marks questions for causes for the failure of 1857 revolt. This is the very, very important question. The next topic in this chapter, most important topics is the what are the results of 1857 revolt. What are the results of 1857 revolts? We can call either results or effects. The results of 1857 revolt. Results of 1857 revolt. This question may also appear under 3 marks question, most likely to appear in the annual examination. The results of 1857 revolt. The first important result of 1857 revolt is the rule of English East India Company came to an end. Before 1857, the India was ruled by the English East India Company. But after 1857 revolt, the rule of India was not in the hands of English East India Company. The entire administration of India went under the control of British Parliament. The first point we have to write, the results of 1857 revolt is the rule of English East India Company came to an end. The second point, the administration of India went directly under the control of the British Parliament. The British government appointed Secretary of State to look after the administration of the India. The British Parliament, the British government appointed Secretary of State to look after the administration of the India. The fourth result is that the Queen of England made some declaration to satisfy the Indians. The important points under the declaration of the Queen of England are: number 1, the fifth point we can write under the results of 1857 revolt, the local kings, those who have been made some trade agreements with the English East India Company will be continued. The fifth point, what we have to write, the English at the time of ruling of English East India Company, this company made some contracts or trade agreements with the some of the local rulers. This agreement will be continued after 1857 revolt also. The sixth point we have to write like this: the Queen of England promised towards the Indians that the British government can establish a stable government in India. Stable government is nothing but responsible government. The Queen of England promised towards the Indians that the British government will establish a responsible government in India. The seventh point we have to write like this: the Queen of England also promised towards the Indians that the British government won't interfere into the religious matters of the Indians, won't interfere into the religious matters of the Indians. That was also promised by the Queen of England after 1857 revolt in the year 1858, known as the Declaration of the Queen of England. The next eighth point, that the British Parliament, the British government also promised that from then onwards the British government won't expand regional expansion. They won't expand their power in India again to other areas or to other regions. These are all the effects of 1857 revolt. This question is also most likely to appear in the annual examination under 3 marks question. In this chapter, we came to know about the causes or reasons for 1857 revolt, and under the reasons, the political reasons, economic reasons, administrative reasons, military reasons, and immediate reasons. Among these 5 reasons most likely to appear in the annual examination, they are either political reasons or economic reasons. You may ask, what is the question? What are the important political reasons for 1857 revolt? And there is a chance to ask, what are the important economic reasons for 1857 revolt? Sometimes he may ask under 2 marks question, what was the immediate cause for 1857 revolt? That's why already we covered all the important questions from this chapter for exam point of view. We covered all the important questions under this chapter, which is most likely to appear in the annual examination under 3 marks and 2 marks questions. Thank you, children, for listening to me, and you go, after listening you make it into practice to write the points, then it will become easy to you to by heart. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Dear children, yesterday I started Indian soils chapter. From that chapter already we came to know types of soils and soil erosion, what are the causes for soil erosion and what are the effects of soil erosion, and what is conservation of soil, or what are the effects, what are the efforts we have to make to achieve conservation of soil. These questions are very, very important for exam point of view. Yesterday in the Indian soils chapter we came to know about the 6 types of soils, that is, those are alluvial soil, red soil, black soil, desert soil, laterite soil, and mountain type of soil. These are the 6 types of soils. Among these soils, the alluvial soil are the most fertile soils in the world, which will give lot of production, yielding from the agricultural land. And among them, how does the alluvial soils have been formed? The alluvial soils have been formed because the alluvium brought down by the rivers and deposited, the alluvial soils have been formed. And how does the black soils have been formed? The black soils have been formed because of the disintegration of basalt rocks. Those black soils are maybe in two colors, maybe dark gray or black in color. These black soils can be called with other names as regur soil or black cotton soil. These black soils are having more retentive capacity. They can store lot of moisture or water vapor along with them. That is the black soil. And regarding the soil erosion and causes for soil erosion and what are the effects of soil erosion, what are the measures we have to take to achieve conservation of soil. These are all the important topics yesterday we discussed from the Indian soils chapter. Today we discussed about the first war of Indian independence. In this chapter, the most important questions are: what are the main reasons for 1857 revolt? The main reasons are: number 1, political reasons; number 2, economic reasons; number 3, administrative reasons; number 4, military reasons; and number 5, immediate reasons for 1857 revolt. And also what are the main causes for the failure of 1857 revolt. Already we discussed lack of unity among the Indian sepoys, and this revolt was concentrated only in some areas of India but not spread throughout India. It is mainly concentrated in North India, not spread to South India, and there was no unity among the Indian sepoys, but there was full unity among the British sepoys. And some of the Indian native rulers, instead of supporting Indian sepoys, they supported towards the British government. These are the important points for the failure of 1857 revolt. And under the results of 1857 revolt, the three important points we have to write. The rule of English East India Company came to an end. That is the first point. And after 1857 revolt, the India went directly under the control of British Parliament, and the British government appointed Secretary of State to look after the administration of India. The Queen of England has been promised and made some declaration to satisfy the Indians. Among them, the Queen of England promised that the British government won't interfere into the religious matters of the Indians, and also the trade agreements which have been made by the English East India Company with the local leaders will continue after the English East India Company lost their rule in India after 1857 revolt. And another, the English Queen also promised to the Indians that the British government will establish a responsible government in India. And also the English Queen also promised towards the Indians that they won't expand their power to the local areas or local regions in India. Thank you children for listening this one, and prepare very nicely. These questions will appear in the annual examination.
Hello students, myself Karnakar Hogar. So here we are going to have some revision classes for you which will be helpful for your exam preparations. So today I am going to discuss about the unit called probability. Probability, the word itself gives the meaning. Probability means possibilities. What are the possibilities? Say for example, tossing a coin. Tossing a coin. So if I toss a coin, so what are possibilities I am getting? So you will be knowing very well, either head or tail. So the concept of the mathematics which is linked with these kind of possibilities, that is called as the probability. In that, some important points are theoretical probability, equal likely outcomes, so elementary event, complementary event, impossible event, and sure event. In the examination, statistics and probability combinedly they have taken 9 marks. So for probability, we may get nearly 3 marks. One question for 1 marks and another question for 2 marks. So 3 marks questions are going to be getting for the probability unit. So now let us discuss one by one. So first is the theoretical probability. So theoretical probability. So looking over the point that is there any formula to find the probability? So that approach what is there, that is called as the theoretical probability. So that theoretical probability formula is given as, and it is represented as P of E. E stands for an event. So theoretical probability, number of outcomes of an event, particular event, how many outcomes are possible for that particular event, divided by total number of outcomes. Okay, so this let us understand with some examples. First examples I take is throwing a die. All of you are familiar with the object which is used to play, that is die, a 6-face cube. So that I am going to take an example to understand all these components. First one, throwing a die. So total number of outcomes that are possible, total number of outcomes. So 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 5 or 6. This is the total number of outcomes that are possible. Then event. Event means take it like a question. Some question I can ask over this game. So consider it as a game. I can ask some questions. Some small game. So for example, first event I am going to take. Probability of getting an even number. Probability of getting an even number. So in this total possibilities of 6, so which are the even numbers that are possible? That is even number 2, there is a 4 and one more is 6. This is the number of outcomes of an event. Now probability, that is P of E, is equal to, so how many possibilities are there of an event? 3. So that is 2, 4 and 6, and the total, that is 6. Therefore the probability of an event, that is probability of getting an even number, that is 3 by 6. Even you can cancel this and reduce it to the form of 1 by 2, that is also right. So next we shall see the equally likely outcomes. Equally likely outcomes. Some examples I will take. Take an example. Tossing a coin. When you are going for tossing a coin, so you are going to get head or tail. Head or tail. Even you can take this example also, throwing a die. Total number of outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Here, if I ask how many number 2 are there? Number 2 is only 1. How many number 4 is there? Only 1. How many number 6 is there? Only 1. In this example, if I see, how many heads are there? In one kind, only one head will be there, or might be one tail. In such case, equally likely outcomes means Here only one will be there. 2, only one time it will be there. 3, it will be only one time. If I take one more example, say for example, there are 4 red colored balls. 4 red colored balls and 2 yellow color balls. Okay, so this event, what I have taken 4 red balls and 2 yellow balls, if they have mixed together, if I put a hand and if I take a ball, I have more and more chances. Maybe one red ball or maybe one yellow ball. Okay, but in these cases, if I take a 2 number, only one will be there. Okay, but here there are 4 red balls. But here there are, and even here also there are 2 yellow balls. These are not likely outcomes. These are not likely outcomes. If the same thing, if they are only one red ball and only one yellow ball, then they are equally likely outcomes. So this is the meaning of equally likely outcomes. Next one is elementary events. Elementary event means it is like a parent and a child. Okay, so parent will be there and the child will be there. So more and more kind of events will be possible there. Say, take an example, throwing a die. Okay, so here I take an event, first event, which is represented as P of E1. So what is this event? I am telling it orally. Number of times the 2 number is repeated. Number 2. So number 2 is repeated for only one time. So P of E1 will be, the total outcome is only 1, and divided by total number of outcomes, that is 6. Therefore, the probability of getting number 2, probability of getting number 2 is 1 by 6. Similarly, I will take one more. Let us take it as E2. So what is, let us take probability of getting number 5. Probability of getting number 5. So what will be the probability? So what are the, how many 5s are there here? Only 1. So here is a 1 divided by total number of outcomes are 6. These are called as elementary events. In that you have to observe one point. What is that? Is probability of getting number 3. So that is also 1 by 6. Okay. So if I take one more probability, fourth probability, take number of probability of getting the number 4. So that is also 1 by 6. Probability of getting the number 5, so that is 1 by 5, and probability of getting the number 6, so that is 1 by 6. So you can observe this, all these are the possible probabilities, possible events. So if I add all those possible events, P of E1 plus P of E2 plus P of E3 plus P of E4 plus P of E5 plus P of E6. If I add all the elementary events, what do I get? So 1 by 6 plus 1 by 6, 1 by 6, 1 by 6, 1 by 6 and 1 by 6. All the denominators are same. The resultant is denominator 6 and the numerator result is also 6. finally, the sum of all elementary events will be always equal to 1. This is the important point what you have to remember. So, sum of all possible elementary events will be always equal to 1. Next, let us look after the, what do you mean by complementary event. Complementary event means, let us understand with an example. First I will take an event that which represents E. So here let us take one example, probability of one event. I am going to take is probability of getting multiples of 3. Probability of getting multiples of 3. So how many numbers are there in this which are multiples of 3? That is 3 and 6. There are 2. There are 2 numbers which are called as multiples of 3, and divided by total number of outcomes is 6. So this is an event. What is the event here? Probability of getting multiples of 3. Now, what is this complementary? Complementary means it is also called as not event, which is represented as E bar. Not event means, now I say a sentence. Probability of getting not multiples of 3. See this word, not. This is called as a complementary event. How we go with that? That is represented as P of E bar. P of E bar. So, means in this outcomes, we should leave the multiples of 3. Not multiples of 3 means multiples of 3 we have to leave. We have to drop. Remaining 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is called as 4 by 6. This is called as complementary event. Just opposite. If I take any one event, just if you add the word not, that is called as the complementary event. And there is a interesting fact in this complementary event between the event and its the probability of an event and its complementary. What is that interesting fact? See that P of E plus P of E not E, P of not E. I am going to add these two probabilities. See the result. That is 2 by 6 is the probability of an event plus 4 by 6 is the probability of not event. So if I add those two, 2 plus 4 divided by 6, that is 6 by 6, that is 1. This is the interesting fact, that is probability of an event and its complementary event, their sum will be always equal to 1. This is the formula which helps us to solve some of 1 marks questions. In the examination, some 1 marks questions can be asked over this formula. Probability of an event plus probability of an not event is equal to 1. Next, let us see what is impossible event. Impossible event. So word itself says impossible. Word itself says impossible means the question the event what I am taking, it is impossible. Let us take an example. Here is that throwing a die. The outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Now if I take a question, an event, I am going to take an event. What is that? Probability of getting a number 8. A number 8. Is there a possibility? Is that 8 is present in this group of numbers? No. So this event will be called as impossible event. So any event which is not possible, that is called as impossible event. So we are going to say that probability of an impossible event is always 0, because here if you see getting a number 8 means, so P of E will be equal to 0. There is no 8 is not there in this group. So 0 by 6, that is equal to 0. Therefore, remember, probability of an impossible event is always 0. Now let us come to the last component, that is sure component, or sometimes it is also called as certain event. What is that certain event? So let us take one event. So what is the event here? Probability of getting natural numbers less than 7. Probability of getting natural numbers less than 7. If I go with that, so P of E is equal to, so total number of outcomes are 6, that is clear. Then what is the result of this event? Natural numbers less than 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all will come. Means total outcomes for this event, that is 6. So 6 by 6 is 1. Okay, where the probability of an event will be equal to 1, that is called as sure event, or sometimes it is also mentioned as certain event. So probability of an certain event or sure event will be always equal to 1. After understanding all these definitions, from these points, we are going to get one marks question. Now next, let us see some 2 or 3 examples from the exercise which can be asked for 2 marks questions. Here we have an example. So a bag contains 5 white balls, 7 red balls, 4 black balls and 2 blue balls. So one ball is drawn at random from the bag. What is the probability of that the ball drawn is white or blue, red or black, not white, neither white nor black? Okay. Number of balls, that is 5 plus 7 plus 4 plus 2, that is totally there are 18 balls. So how many white balls are there? That is 5. Then how many blue balls are there? That is 2. So sum of those 2 means, see the question what they have given. Number of white or blue means we have to add number of white balls and number of blue balls, that is 5 plus 2, that is 7. Therefore what will be the probability? Probability of drawing a white or a blue ball, that will be 7 by 18. Second event is number of red or black. So how many red are there? 7. How many black balls are there? That is 4. Sum of that is 11. Therefore probability of drawing a red or black ball, that is sum of red and black balls is 11. So probability is 11 by 18. The next event is number of that are not white. That are not white means how many white balls are there? There are 5 white balls. Totally there are 18. In that if I remove 5, so that is 13. That 13 represents number of that are not white. So that is 13. Then probability of drawing a ball which is not white, that is 13 by 18. Then number of balls that are not white or black. So white or black, that will be equal to 7 plus 2. That is probability of drawing neither white nor black balls, that is 9 by 18. If we cancel, we will get 1 by 2. This is one example. Let us see one more example which might be possible in the examination. So let us see one more example here. Two dice are thrown simultaneously. What is the probability that 5 will not come up on either of them? 5 will come up on at least one. 5 will come up at both dice. Means two dice are thrown simultaneously means what happens? See here, you can have a picture here. Two dice are thrown at a time. Means what might be the possibilities? There will be 36 possibilities. How means? Here we can see the 36 possibilities. Means one die, see in the diagram we can see one die is showing the number 2 and another die is showing the number 6. This is 2, 6 here. Like that, there will be possibility of 36 possibilities. So that will be the total number of outcomes of this throwing a 2 dice simultaneously. Now let us see what are the event they have asked from that. The first event is 5 will not come up on either of them. Okay, 5 will not come means either 5 should not come one time or 5 should not come 2 times. Means in that group of 36 group of 2 numbers 5 should not be there. First let us see wherever there are 5 numbers 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5 like that there will be 11 possibilities. Either 5 is coming one time or 2 times. Then from the total number of outcomes if I subtract 11 I get 25. What is this 25? In that 25 set of numbers there is no 5. Okay, so probability of that 5 will not come up either of them is 25 by 36. Event is 5 will come up at least in one die. Okay, set of number will be there. Maybe 5 may be coming for one time or 5 may be coming for 2 times. So how many possibilities are there? Just now in the before problem in the example we are seeing, so there will be 11. So the probability of that 5 will come up at least one in die. Remember children, at least means maybe one time or maybe 2 times. So 1, 5, 2, 5, 3, 5, 4, 5, 5, 1, 5, 2. Here how you can see 5 is having one time and here you can observe that 5 is for 2 times. 5 is getting 2 times. So total number of outcomes will be 11. The probability of that will be 11 by 36. And the last event is 5 will come up at both dice. Means 2 dice what we are throwing on the 2 dice 5 numbers should come. Understood? Means 5, 5 should be the set in the total number of 36. That is having only one possibility. That is 5, 5. The probability will be 1 by 36. So by this we end the revision part of this probability. So more and more from this probability you are going to get 2 1-mark questions and 1 2-mark questions. It's a very easy unit. Practice them, prepare well. All the best for your exams.